Good afternoon, brothers, sisters, and friends. Let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever had a pet? Maybe a dog, a cat, a rabbit, a bird, fish, or even a turtle. Why do people love keeping animals so much? Some say because they are cute. Some say because pets bring comfort and companionship. But have you ever wondered, why do animals naturally come close to people? Not only pets at home, but sometimes even wild animals, a bird, a deer, or a squirrel, may approach humans without fear. Today, I'd like to share with you from the Bible why this happens and how it actually reveals God's heart for us. In Genesis chapter 2, after God created man, he said, "It is not good for the man to be alone." Then God formed all kinds of animals and birds and brought them to Adam to see what he would name them. This gives us a beautiful picture. Adam was not alone in the Garden of Eden. He was surrounded by living creatures, sharing life with them. Of course, later God made Eve as Adam's true companion, but the passage shows us something important. Animals were created not just for the environment, but also to live alongside humans. I often notice this myself. Sometimes when I walk in a park, wild birds or small animals come near without fear. Why does this happen? The Bible gives us an answer. In Genesis 1 verse 26, God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock and all the wild animals." In other words, from the very beginning, God gave human beings the role of caretaker and ruler over the animal world. So as Christians, we believe animals instinctively recognize that we are descendants of Adam and Eve, the ones God put in charge. When they come close to us, it is not just random. It's because they sense who we are. The Bible gives several pictures of animals living closely with humans. Dogs, in Matthew 15 verse 27, the Canaanite woman said, "Even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." This shows that dogs were already part of family life, eating alongside people. Sheep, Psalm 23 says, "The Lord is my shepherd." This famous image comes from the close relationship between shepherds and their sheep. Sheep follow their shepherd, and the shepherd protects them. Donkey, in Numbers 22, Balaam's donkey even spoke to him, showing loyalty and concern. These examples remind us, animals are not just tools or resources. God placed them in our lives so we can interact with them, and even learn from them. But the Bible doesn't stop at saying animals come close to humans. It goes further and tells us to care for them. Proverbs 12 verse 10 says, "The righteous care for the needs of their animals." A godly person does not abuse or neglect animals, but treats them with compassion. That's why so many people today say, "Having a pet taught me responsibility. It taught me love." This is exactly what God intended. Animals help us grow in kindness, patience, and love. So, friends, next time you see a little dog wagging its tail at you, or a bird resting on your hand, remember this. It is not just because animals are cute. It is not by chance. The Bible tells us this happens because God created them, and He also created us. He made us to be close to each other. But above all, God gave us animals not only for companionship but as a reminder. If animals can recognize us as their caretakers, how much more should we recognize God as our creator and the true shepherd of our souls? Yes, animals can comfort us, but the deepest comfort, the greatest companionship, comes from knowing God Himself. Thank you for listening.